Hello. Tonight I'm working on a Toyota Camry. This car came in for inner and outer tie rod ends, shocks, and possibly a water pump. There's a water leak. I'll give you a look at it. There it is. The 2003 Camry LE. It's got 180,000 miles on it. So we'll get it up in the air and take the wheels off, and I'll be back with you. Yeah, this is why it's here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, they're pretty bad. Yeah, so you see there's the inner tie rod, the boot's all gone, but you can actually see the amount of movement in that joint. It's pretty bad. Thankfully though, the customer got new boots and clamps and all that stuff. So let me go collect up some tools and I'll be back with you again here shortly. So the first step in this process is we have to loosen the jam nut here. So I already tried to get a wrench on it. It's pretty well seized in there. Get the torches going. I doubt I can do it one-handed, but we'll try. Hold on. Hold, please. Sorry, this torch here is a little fickle. It takes a minute to get going. So we're just going to heat it up. Wait till that nut gets nice and red. Yeah, we're up in Northeast Ohio here, and they use an awful lot of chemicals and salt on the roads in the winter, so it's pretty much an everyday thing here in what I like to call the Rust Belt, Snow Belt. Flip it over to the other side a little bit. And that should be plenty warm. Get our wrench. And we gotta get in here and give her a twist. Alright, it's backed off. Then we'll get in here with our 19mm socket and pull the nut off the bottom. Go find a hammer. Hold on. All right, and I know this is kind of the old school way of doing it, but just get down here like so and give it a good couple whacks with our purse here. Well, that's really in there. There she goes. Popped out. Get that out of there. That thing's pretty loose, so what we'll do... Okay, now this is the setup we have going. I normally wouldn't use a pipe wrench, but it's pretty rusty. And it's getting replaced anyways. It doesn't matter if that nut gets messed up. Pipe wrench is nice. It gives you good leverage. So yes, and I do see that That control arm bushing there's starting to go, so I'll have to recommend that to him for next time. But let me get the torch fired back up because that's yet again pretty well seized on there. Yeah, that was pretty shot. It'll make for a hell of a noise, and it's really quite unsafe. Let me go dig out some tools and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, the next step here is to take the rest of the boot off. And it's hard to see, but maybe you can catch it. That little loopy-doo there, you got to cut that off with a pair of side cuts. Let me get in there and see if I can do this one-handed and video it at the same time. Okay. And there's the clamp. So we got that off. Now we're going to grab a pair of pliers. Grab onto that. Give that a yank. There's the rest of the boot. Okay, now it is a tricky bit. There's a tool. Let me show you what the tool looks like. So this is the wrench portion that fits on the back of the inner tie rod. It fits right in here like this. Like that. And this is the other portion of the tool. And this isn't a very expensive, very great tool, but I've used it several times. It works okay. See if I can balance that up there. So then, you take this thing, and you slide it over the end of the tie rod, and you got those things there, you gotta it's kinda gotta fit in a groove. Alright, and then that twists back around there, so now this is on there. I know it doesn't fit the best, but it is what it is. And so then you put your ratchet on there, and hopefully I can do this without smashing the phone on the ground. Give it a twist. All right. Then we take, now there goes the wrench. There's the old inner tie rod. No good. So now I got that off, okay. Let's go over here and get the new one. Got that and that. I'll need that nut. So here's your new one. As you can see, nice and tight. It's hard to bend, and that's what you want. And then there's this washer Durski. Goes on the back side. It fits in those grooves there, like that. So we'll put that on the tie rod. Let me get you mounted back up here. Very important. Red thread locker goes on the threads when you do one of these. Every time. That'll keep the tie rod from backing out. It'd probably help if I held it the right way around. Red thread locker. So what you do, you just put a little stripe on it like that. You see the red I put on there? So then this gets threaded back in there. Then after it gets started, take and clip that washer into the groove it goes in. See, right there it is. So you thread this in, because you want to make sure the tie rod can be fully seated down against the rack and pinion. All right. Get that buttoned up there. Now I didn't check to make sure this was the same. Hopefully it is. Yep. And you get your wrench back on there. Get the tool back on there. Lock it on. Throw the ratchet on there. And I'm sure there's probably a torque spec for this, but I don't know what it is. Just make sure it's tight. Okay. And you get your tool back off. Get the wrench out. Okay, let me go grab the new boot, and then that's the next part. Now there is a special tool for these. That's what it looks like. Well, it's kind of hard to see. For these clamps. So you got these goofy looking clamps right there. And the idea is that you pull that bit, pull it tight, and then fold it over that bit. Come on, focus. Fold it over that. You take it and fold that piece there over top of it, and that holds the clamp on tight. So we got our two clamps. Oh, dropped one. Got our two clamps in. Get that slid on. I probably should have sprayed some oil on this, but I didn't. So then you gotta get it to... Oh, there goes the light. So next thing is you gotta get the bellows here. That's what that's called, a bellows. Gotta get that to slide on to the rack. I think we're going to go underneath and take a look. So then you see, okay, see right there, it is fully seated on there. So then we got to flip this around. And the idea is that you pull this bit, pull that out. Okay, I did end up having to use a tool, but I couldn't do that and video at the same time. Okay, let's try that again. Now we can take and do this. You take and lift that up like that. You bend this down. I'm going to take the world's smallest ball peen hammer here, lock it together. Make sure it still spins on there because you need to be able to turn that to adjust your toe. Okay, one moment please. Okay, I'm back. Now I always take and put anti-seize on this part because there's a jam nut that locks it together. You don't need a ton, just enough to kind of keep out the corrosives on the road. That way 6 months from now, when you want to get an alignment, the thing will still turn. Then we go on with our jam nut. And of course it's going to be tight because cheap parts are built like cheap parts. And of course that's a different size now. Nope. There we go. Okay, that's on there ways. Now let's get our tie rod end on. And I'm going to put just another dab of anti-seize on there because the nut took most of it with it. And like I said, 6 months from now when you want to get an alignment, that's important. So then we thread that on. And we take and put the tie rod on back in the steering knuckle. Okay. Let's go up a little bit. And we put the castle nut on there. Grab my wrench here, see if it's the same size. Oh, it is. Go figure. So then you basically just tighten it up. I generally like to use a wrench on castle nuts because it makes it easier to see what you're doing to get the cotter key on there. See, it's got to go another little bit. There, you see the, well, it won't focus, but there's the hole that's lined up for the cotter pin. So we'll go grab that. Now there's a right way and a wrong way to put on cotter pins. So I like to do it like this. And you go up with one side, down with the other. Now you might think you're done, but you're not. What I always do is I take and, I'm doing this left-handed, this isn't working. So you cut that right about there. And then you take and bend that piece up flat. And then I always take and leave just a little tiny tail on the back of that one. And then I bend that up in there. Now if you look at it, there's nothing for you to catch your hands on. There's no sharp bits. That is the appropriate way to do a cotter key. Alright? Now normally you would tighten this up, but I have to do the other side yet. And I'm going to have to sort of line the wheels up a little bit so you can go and get an alignment. But that's how you change a inner and outer tie rod. So that's really all I got for you. Step-by-step procedure for changing inner and outer tie rod ends on a rack and pinion style setup. Hope it was helpful for somebody. I hope you all have a good evening.